Yo, what's up? My name is Rich. Welcome back to another video. If you're looking to start your t-shirt, your apparel printing, your brand, whatever you want to sell, business, there's 4 things that you need to know. Alright, so right before we get into it, I'm asking for y'all, just go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I've never asked for this before we got into something, but let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Alright, so the first thing you need to know is your audience. Who are you serving? Who are you selling to? Who are your customers? If you don't know who you're selling to, then what are you making these things for? You really need to know your audience and who you are serving. Because if you don't, when it comes to creating your actual product, your t-shirt, your apparel, whatever it is, you're practically only creating it for yourself because you're doing what you think is best for yourself. When it comes to creating these products, you really need to define who you are serving. Let's say you're making t-shirts for nurses. You really need to dig into it, and before you even create the product itself, you need to be able to do some research. So you can't do these things unless you know exactly who your audience is. So once you know who your audience is, you know how to do some research, you know exactly where to go to get ideas and to brainstorm and how to market and things like that. So make sure you know about your audience. The second thing you need to know is production methods. And I've gone through this several times now. If you need to know about all the production methods, it's on the YouTube channel. Type in t-shirt production models, t-shirt production methods. There's several different ways. There is no perfect printer at this point in time. They all have their pros and cons. Some of them are for large volume. Some of them are for small volume. Some of them are best for single color. Some of them are best for full color. Some of them are best for cotton. Some of them are best for dye sublimation for polyester. There's just so many different routes to go, and they all have their pros and cons. So the reason why you need to understand this is so you stop commenting on my videos what printer to buy. I'm just kidding, but at the same time, yes, please stop asking me that. All you have to do is do some research on production methods. This is exactly why this is important. That way you know which production methods are proficient for whichever process you want to use. So when it comes to, let's say you're selling a t-shirt and you have a single color design and you need to get out to hundreds of people because you have an event coming the next day, you need to understand that screen printing is going to be your best choice for a single particular design in mass volume, especially if like you're looking in the thousands and 2000s and whatnot. When it comes to like 100 or so, you could probably even do that with screen printed transfers. So make sure you understand all of the production models. Now, another thing you need to know on top of just the production models itself is if you want to outsource or if you want to do it in-house. Most people who end up doing production themselves, they always, I won't say always, but majority of the time, they end up becoming a print shop. You know, most people start off buying their own equipment because they want to build a clothing brand and stuff like that. Now, it may be nice if you're starting off that way. You know, you can kind of test different things and you can kind of understand the process. But most people who do that end up becoming a print shop. And there's not really anything wrong with that, but it ends up soaking up a whole lot of time because, you know, you end up becoming a print shop. You need that money to fund your actual clothing brand. And it just becomes a circle of terror of you trying to gain capital for your own brand, which is burning money faster than the amount of money that you're creating by actually being a print shop to, you know, other people in need. So there's pros and cons to doing it in-house and outsourcing. However, if you outsource, you can always focus on marketing. Now, this is a better route if you don't want to necessarily become a print shop, or if you just want to do some contract printing, which is, you know, you taking in orders that's sometimes has to be for a clothing brand and sometimes it's not. And, you know, you're outsourcing the production and you just become the middleman and take the profit. Now, whenever you're building your own brand, it's also a little more ideal to outsource because then, you know, you can focus on the marketing itself, because that's really the most important part of this game is marketing. And we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into marketing at the end of this video. All right, so before we get into the next thing, we're gonna hop into our sponsor for the video, which is the Vevor heat press. So let's go check that out. All right, so check it out. Here's the sponsor for this video, which is the Vevor heat press. This is gonna be the cheapest heat press you can practically get. And I think we have a 10% coupon code in the links. Like I said, if you have a very small budget, this is going to be the heat press to get because this is the one that's going to get you started. All right, so this is also like a 5-in-1 heat press, so they have extra attachments and whatnot if you want to turn it into a heat press. If you want to use it as a mug press, stuff for tumblers, You got the pressure adjustment right here. And as you can see, it is a swing away as well. So let's go ahead and swing it on back. So now I'm gonna go ahead and load a t-shirt up on here real quick, and I'm gonna show you that, you know, you can start with a small price. This is a screen printed transfer. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on here. I'm gonna click this button so it starts counting down. And check it out, we have a t-shirt. So, you know, if you got a small budget, this is gonna be an easy way to start. Alright, so I appreciate y'all for checking out the sponsor. Let's hop into the next thing, which is design. You need to learn about design, whether you want to become a designer or not. You need to at least understand the basics, you know, because you're going to have to handle these files as well, especially whenever, if you hire a designer and you get the file back, and guess what? It's a PNG, it's a PSD, it's an AI file, and you don't even know what it is. You're just like, all right, let me forward this to my printer. And then all of a sudden your printer's like, no, this is the incorrect file. You're the person who's responsible, not necessarily your designer. You can become, you know, the person in the middle who goes back to the designer and say, hey, my printer says we need this type of file. That can become a hassle. You really need to understand as well that different production methods require different design files. You know, if it comes to screen printing, you know, you need to really separate all of your actual files into separate different colors. And, you know, although your screen printer can do that, they might charge you a fee. Some screen printers are just kind of irritated by that. So you really need to understand how to prep your files for print, whether you're doing yourself or even if you're outsourcing it. And you have to understand, once you understand all those production methods, you will understand which ones can't take certain files. I mean, embroidery itself requires you to digitize files, which I know a lot of designers don't even do themselves, and print shops don't either. They outsource it as well. So make sure you understand production methods and design as well, because when it comes to designing, it's going to be a whole lot easier if you at least understand the basics and just practice something a little bit different every single day when it comes to design. All right, so the next thing I highly recommend knowing is your website, right? Where are you going to sell? Are you going to sell on Amazon? Are you going to sell on Etsy? Are you going to sell on Shopify, Wix, Zyro, whatever, your own website? You have to understand the differences between all of them. Amazon, eBay, Etsy, stuff like that is a marketplace. And it's not really geared towards building a brand, because you don't necessarily collect that data for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you send a customer to Etsy, that's Etsy's customer. They might just be checking out on your storefront on their marketplace, but at the end of the day, that's Etsy's customer. Yes, you can pretty much convert them into your own customer in the long run, but you really want to collect this data, especially if you want to build your own brand or your own true print shop, because that way you're able to collect the data on your own website. You know, you're able to put your advertising pixels and stuff like that on there. That way you can, you know, you can track them and you can send them emails and stuff like that. So understand the different types of websites. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth because we've already gone over this as well. Now, this is just a whole overview of everything that you need to know. So make sure you understand your website as well. And when it comes to our previous subject, which is design, it will help you out a lot when it comes to web building. Website building is very easy nowadays. A lot of the stuff is very drag and drop now. It used to be way more difficult back in the day. You used to have to pretty much create the actual website, cut it down into images, you know, code it and stuff like that, and use stuff like Dreamweaver. Man, it used to be a whole lot more difficult, and now it's very easy. Everything is a lot more drag and drop nowadays. But one thing that design will help you on is just resizing your images. And resizing images is really a part of the basics of design itself. So if you at least learn how to resize images, you're already learning something that's going to put you in a jump start of the game, because you will be surprised by the amount of people who don't actually know how to resize an image properly. So if you want to learn this, hop on YouTube, type in how to resize an image on Photoshop. You know, sizing and dimensions in Adobe Illustrator. You know, understand what DPI is, your resolution of your images, the difference between pixels and inches, and working in CMYK or RGB. All of this is important, and it's going to help you in the long run. We're not teaching it right now, but I'm letting you know about what you need to search up to go look for. All right, so check it out. The next important thing is traffic. You need traffic. It's practically your marketing. to your actual website, your landing page, to your product, if you have a storefront, whatever it is. Understand traffic, the difference between paid traffic and organic traffic. Organic is pretty much word of mouth, you doing things without having to pay people, you know, stuff like that. Handing out cards, going to, you know, an event, like that's, you're not paying for it, and handing things out. That's organic. Paid traffic, you're paying for advertisement, you're paying for placement. Even if you go to an event, instead of you just lingering around passing out ads, you pay to vendor, you know, you pay to be a sponsor. These are your paid traffic, you know. When you pay for things, it's going to be easier to get a whole lot of eyes. But you might not get the right eyes if you don't know, we're back to square one, your audience. Let's say if you're directed towards nurses, right? That's your brand, your apparel, whatever it is. Or even if you do embroidery for hospitals and stuff, you know? Let's say if you were paying for a spot, you know? You wouldn't just want to do it at some kind of average dodgeball game or something. You would want to go vendor at some kind of... See, I'm not even familiar with everything when it has to do with nurses, but I'm pretty sure there's conventions for hospitals. Go Google search that. See if you can pay the vendor there, you know? See if you can become a sponsor there. Free ways to do it. Say, hey, guess what? I can cover the event. I'll do it for free. And you know what? It comes from your YouTube channel, and your YouTube channel has to do with nurses, and then you plug in your own apparel. Man, that's some free organic traffic, but it takes a little bit of work. But most people aren't willing to go that far for their own brand because it seems like a whole lot of work, and they don't know what's coming back in return. And that's the risk of running a business. So understand your marketing itself. It's gonna help you out a lot. So just a quick recap, you got your audience, you got your production methods. Understand if you wanna do that in-house or, you know, outsource it. And then you got your design, you got your web, and you got your actual marketing. So I hope this video helped you out. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm gonna see y'all next time.